Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the day after the Dallas loss, yeah, got beat at the buzzer. Maxi Kleba shot us down, man, and we are now in 10th place. Actually, thankful to be in 10th place, having some good things happen with other teams losing around our playoff positioning. So we're still in a firm position to make the play-in tournament if everything were to end today. So you feel um, okay about that? I guess you definitely appreciate being inside of this situation rather than outside of it. But I've been listening to what everyone has had to say about what Anthony Davis's performance was like, and giving me a better understanding of what it is that I was looking at down there while I was just basically kind of rolling my eyes throughout the fourth quarter, anticipating the worst, rather than analyzing exactly what it is that I was looking at, because it just gets to a point as a fan where you're just watching the game and you're like, I already know what's going to happen. And that was my entire attitude for the entire game. But, Anthony Davis, giving up 6 points in 7 seconds of basketball play, all to yourself. I mean, man, you talk about really not showing up down the stretch of a basketball game your team needs him to. Missed the free throw, gave up the ridiculous foul on Maxi Kleba, where he was able to hit 3 free throws himself. And then on the very next possession, giving up a 3-point shot to that very same player, where you just, I guess, were trying to attempt to get a rebound that really made no sense for us to even attempt based on the time that was left. You get that board with the score as it was, all you've done is literally nothing. Game over. We win. You don't need that damn board. Let it fly off the rim, for goodness sakes, if that's what it's going to come down to. But make sure you contest all shots, especially the one that could end the game. We're up by 2. They needed 3. You gave up a 3. Bad math. Bad math. So, all of that was kind of lost upon me. I knew he had made the bad foul. I wasn't paying attention to who was guarding Maxi Kleba. I really wasn't. I was too busy looking at how well we were playing defense on Kyrie Irving and watching the clock, trying to see it expire. And as I look up, Maxi Kleba is in position to catch the basketball. And even then, I didn't think he had got it off in time. They did. And so, who was not guarding whom further back towards the rim just wasn't something I was paying attention to in that split second. And I did not go back and watch that play. I just didn't. And so for me, now that I've had a chance to watch play a couple times, I think Maxi Kleba put himself in a position to get a very, very good angled 3-point shot off. That was kind of tough to contest to begin with, the way that we were positioned. But when you're trying to go after a pointless rebound, as Anthony Davis was, you really find yourself out of position in that situation. So that was really a huge catalyst. Missed free throws, just ultimately botched plays, man. And then you look at the clock management situation. In the last 3 minutes of the game, some of the shots that we took. I read one of the comments that someone made in one of the YouTube videos I was watching. He gave us a thorough rundown of just how bad those last 2 minutes were. A bad shot by Schroeder, shot with like 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Somebody else had shot a shot with like 10 seconds left in the shot clock as well before that. And those were plays that ended up turning into plays that gave the Dallas Mavericks enough time to create the opportunity to win a last second shot. And so it's like, if you don't manage the clock properly and make sure you run those shot clocks all the way down in the last 2 minutes of the game, the same way we've been talking about this team having issues with that all season long with Bron on the floor. They had the same problem without him. We didn't have any idea of how to close the game from a clock management standpoint. We preached about this about maybe 2 months ago when we lost the Philly game and so many other games. I think it was a Celtics game, the Indy game, where we just literally didn't use the right pace in the last 3 minutes of the game, to where we just allowed ourselves to shoot early in the shot clock with Russell Westbrook and LeBron James and other players just not managing the last 2 minutes of the game. And what did I tell us? I said we need to get Derek Fisher there to help manage this team in that way as it pertains to helping us with that specific thing, because he used to be extremely good for us in that way, and we rarely lost basketball games that way. Down the last 2 minutes, him and Kobe Bryant, they were masters at that. And so for us, who are a team that is deficient in that way, we need to figure out how to learn what it is that is there to learn. I don't care how great a player is. If there's certain aspects of the game that he's just never been taught, then there's just another aspect of the game he needs to learn. And for me, looking at LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Darvin Ham, and everybody on this team, that's something that they need to learn. They need to learn what Derek Fisher had mastered, what Kobe Bryant had mastered, and that is how to keep the ball out of the other team's hands down the stretch of the basketball game. Period. You use their fouls against them. You get to the line, you hit those shots, and you put yourself in a position to, by way of the clock and your scoring, keep them from being in a one-possession, one-shot situation from winning the basketball game. That is the point. So that they don't have a 4-point play or a 3-point shot away from winning. That is what you're kind of, warding off, so to speak, by using the clock to your advantage, by way of pace and in philosophy as it pertains. If you've been killing them all game long, then maybe slowing down is the wrong approach. Like we did with the Celtics, their first matchup. We were killing them. Fast pace all game long. And then when it came down to the last 3 minutes, LeBron James wants to slow up. Wrong approach. Opposite effect. What you wanted to do was continue doing the thing that was working, because that's what they couldn't stop. Once you slowed down, now you're starting to dance with them. And that's exactly what happened. They started winning that way. And so it's like these are things that you have to learn. People have to teach these things. These are basketball philosophies. It doesn't have anything to do with how talented you are or how many games you've played. It's an entirely different science that somebody mastered and they figured it out. And so if you don't figure it out and you're getting whooped on, this is something that can stop that from happening for you. You need to learn this. And so that's what happened. The Los Angeles Lakers have been deficient in this area all season long. And it reared its ugly head when they needed it not to the most. They made the same stupid mistakes down the stretch of this basketball game that they had made in so many other basketball games all year long. And if they would have done what I said all year long, which was get in there and learn and study the old tapes of the old Lakers, who put on a 20 years of basically of a class on how to do this. That's why us Laker fans are so frustrated, because we know clock management. We know what it looks like when the game's being closed properly. We know how long a guy should hold the ball when the 24-second shot clock is running out, synchronized with the game clock. We know he shouldn't move before probably 7 seconds, depending on how fast he can get to the rim, depending on how fast he can get to his motions. If he goes too soon, he's going to give the ball back to the other guy, and that guy was usually a very, very lethal killer who was going to knock it down. So you were afraid of that back then. You understand? That was part of normal NBA basketball. If you got that stuff wrong, it was understood. Michael Jordan's going to kill you. And so it's like, when you don't grow up in that era and everybody's shooting threes all over the place, it's not, you don't respect clock management as much, because most of the games are blowouts. And that's just not what you're going to be dealing with in this era going forward. And so it's like, if you can't win a close game, if you don't know how to manage a 3-minute drill or a 2-minute drill, you're going to look like the Los Angeles Lakers do. You're going to have enough talent to win, but you're going to be losing basketball games left or right because of mistakes that you make that put the ball in the other team's hands, so that they can have something like last night happen, where Maxi Kleber was able to shoot you down at the buzzer on your home floor in a game that you must win. You're professionals. And my thing is, this is what I mean by teams need to be more detail oriented. If these people understood what it is that it took to win, they would have a hold on this type of thing. It wouldn't be no deficiency with clock management, because if you're going to spend $400 million on a basketball team, you wanted to make dang sure that they know how to win a basketball game. You ain't going to let them not do things correctly. You ain't going to have guys out there traveling and shooting the ball off the backboard or nothing like that.
You want to make sure they know everything that they're supposed to know. And it's like they just don't respect this aspect of the game. And it's one of the most important things. It's how you win. Otherwise, you're getting beat. So, I don't know, man. I'm tired of having to look at this all season long. Because you got to understand, it's 82 games. You're just seeing them make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And in real life, you see that happen. It's like, okay, well, what are we really doing? Like, are we not learning? You ran small ball 82 times last year. Gave you a crap record. You're going to run it again to start the season. I'm like, what? Is this the desired result? That's what it really comes down to. What else am I supposed to say as the Laker fan? Is this what we want? Maybe this is what we want. Maybe losing is just something that is a desired result for the team. And all of us just aren't in on the bull crap. We still think we're chasing 18. So, I don't know, man. But at this point in time, looking at that game last night, I'm tired of looking at people making the same mistakes over and over again. I'm tired of losing basketball games in embarrassing fashion against our rivals. Our rivals. Dallas Mavericks. You know how many battles we have with this team over the last 30 years, I guess you can say 20 years? Come on, man. It's not even worth talking about. And in looking at the situation, you just understand the Los Angeles Lakers are just continuing to move forward with some of these same deficiencies into these next 11 games. And you know that there's a chance they're going to lose those games because of it. 1 or 2 or 3 or however many is too much is essentially what I'm saying to you. However many losses is too much for us to save our season is what I expect this team to lose because of these type of deficiencies that are just going to continue to come as teams are fighting for their playoff lives. What, you think it's going to be blowouts every night? Nah, these teams are fighting, man. You're going to have to win these games in the last 3 minutes. You're going to have to win these games at the free throw line. You have to win these games intellectually with your confidence. And these players are so wildly inconsistent. I don't know who is going to give me what. And that is a big part of the problem. It's just too much inconsistency with some of our role guys. Guys that we really like, but guys that are just like, man, can I count on you tonight or can I not? And if I have to not count on you, if the guy I sub in is going to be playing out of position, then how much of an advantage do I have? And that's part of the problem as well. Now, I think that doesn't have to be a problem, but it translates to it being a problem out there because that's what it ends up happening. That's what Darvin does. So, and it's like common sense stuff was something that was talked about a lot in regards to last night's game. Like, I know Vanderbilt isn't 100% healthy, so maybe you weigh his health risk against this, but you really do have to put him on Kyrie Irving the good majority of the game. You really do. I don't think we want to wear him out. You definitely want to keep him healthy for the playoffs. So like I said, maybe that makes more sense. But just in the sense of you trying to win a game that you must win, and you got only one really super talented guy on the other side, and he's only like 6'3", maybe 180 pounds at the most, 85. I mean, what are we doing, man? You got to be honest and say we didn't give ourselves the best shot to do what we needed to do to defend the Dallas Mavericks again. Because, I brought up the Christmas game and the other matchup as well that Luka was a part of, which I thought we just deliberately did nonsense out there against him so he could shoot big, numbers and have a wonderful game against us. I thought that was just blatant bullcrap, honestly. And then I look at this matchup and I say it's kind of the same thing. It wasn't much different. Because we really did leave Kyrie out there to just dance all over us. Missed every damn free throw. I don't know what's going on with the free throw line. But I've never seen a team shoot 61%. I don't think I've ever seen that. And not only have I never seen that, but definitely not in a situation like this where you need to win. I don't know. I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated. I don't think there's any other way of putting it. Anthony Davis, a great player, but he misses too many games for us to be having these type of performances. Only for him to have these amazing performances that make us feel like we're wrong for thinking all of this. We're not wrong for thinking that. Because we be getting this crap. This is what we get. This is real. We're here. When he goes for 50, 17, 6 blocks, 4 steals, doesn't miss a shot, I'm supposed to forget this crap. And that's hard for me, man. Especially when half the time he ain't even out there. So, when I look at them 50, 17, whatever, 50, 25, whatever he's going to do with the super numbers, I understand. That's probably not going to come to the big game. Not in the game I need him to go like that. Because this is when I need him to go like that. Not against, I don't know, Portland on a random day in January. That's cool. That's great. But what are we doing in March when we're fighting for our playoff lives? What are we doing? Because if you could if I accuse you of being the best defensive player I had seen, maybe ever, and these are the things that are happening down the stretch of a game you can't afford to lose, this is what we're getting. And I see you, at the end of the game, I know it matters. I know it matters. I see it in your eyes. You're not doing too good. But, I mean, I can't do nothing with the results that I'm getting. I can't be tasked with comforting you. You know what I'm saying? That's not my job. You got to get that right, man. And LeBron James, did you rattle your brother there, man? Did that help? I just think that demonstration when you walk up to him and you're screaming at him, I don't know if he's wired for that to be the right button to press, especially under these circumstances. I don't think it was. Not with the pressure he under. Sometimes you just got to have self-awareness so that you don't bring all that comes with you to a situation and make it worse while you're intended to be, whatever it is. Because that's what happens with a lot of powerful spirits and powerful people. It's like, bro, your presence alone, just like John Morant was trying to explain to us when he was coming to that understanding that, you can't just show up to the high school because you're Ja showing up to the high school. This is a different variation of that. It's like, bro, you're LeBron James wearing black and standing in the middle of the Laker floor screaming at this man. You ain't just some dude's, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing, bro. You're doing something. And it's just like, it's a moment in time. Just like anything else LeBron James has going on camera. It's a moment in time forever. And so it's just like, bro, I just want LeBron James to have a bit more awareness of how much pressure he just carries with his aura alone. And when you're going to do this, that's going to bring somebody and make them feel like, I don't know about my confidence. Especially a guy like Anthony Davis who appears to have his confidence waver, man. As I told you. And this is just my point of view, and I don't mind just putting it out there because it's how I am. But, like, I just liken his confidence to, like, Troy Brown. Anthony Davis and Troy Brown, like kindred spirits. They're like, I feel good about myself today. Yeah, let's go get 14 boards. Today, I got 6 points for you. 2 out of 3 for sure. We're going to hit the shots. It's efficient. You like that, right? But I'm not going to shoot anymore. I got like 2 boards. Yeah, I've been running around for 23 minutes, but I got like 2 boards. Like, Troy, you're the longest player out there, fam. Anthony, you're the longest player out there, fam. You see how that goes? They're the same. It's like, but Anthony is like a super duper great player. He's an alien, like, without confidence. Like a dinosaur without confidence, bro. It's like, nah, you can't be like that. And it's like, I don't like comparing them to other people. That's awful. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible trait. But it's just the spirit, you compare LeBron James to Kobe Bryant. Where the killer instinct? You compare Anthony Davis to Giannis. Man, Giannis is out there every day hustling. Even when he messes up, he gonna be out there shooting free throws 2 hours after the game because, like, that's his work ethic. He don't, you know what I mean? And it's like, but that's what it is when you're dealing with great players. You can't just say, okay, we need to take that trait and put it on this person. No, that's why Giannis is Giannis. That's why Kobe was Kobe. You know what I mean? You gotta leave it alone. But at the same time, it's like when you're used to that, like we are as Laker fans, we used to that. It's like, Anthony, you can't be this blessed and not have the confidence that matches it to deliver when it matters. When you're all we got. And so that's what it comes down to. And as I've already pointed out in many videos, I think the organization itself, with the decisions that they've made, have made it more difficult for the players on the court. And I think they're very much of a problem as us missing free throws when they don't put centers on the floor to help put us in position properly. It's just as much as us not guarding the perimeter properly. They're very much out there like the Flares are. So it shows. But even with that being the case, Anthony Davis is paid to mask a lot of problems. That's what he does. It's one of the reasons why we want him here. It's because even when coach is putting the wrong players on the floor, if he's playing like a superstar on both sides of the floor, you can still win the game. Even when guys are not shooting correctly, even when we're too small out there. If he's rebounding to his highest ability and blocking shots to his highest ability, he is your rim protection. He is your rebounding. So it's like that's what it is you expect him to do, but then you weigh that against his health risk. And how long you think he's going to be able to stay out there doing that healthy-wise? And then it doesn't help if he's going to make mistakes with his fouls, if he's not respecting his own foul trouble and not respecting clock management himself and things like that. Not demanding the ball when it really is incumbent on our offense to have him shooting more. It's like, how many times do we have to tell others to get you involved? And everybody's just saying, well, you know, Anthony Davis ain't going to call for the ball. I think Anthony Davis needs to start calling for the ball. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold a guy to a space and say he's the best, you know, or one of the very best, and then proceed to look at him and say, well, the deficiency that you have to not want it enough is something that I'll accept. You can't do that. Because him wanting enough is a difference between me winning and losing. So he had better want it enough or he needs to get the hell out of here. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. Because if he's not going to give us what it is he's supposed to give us, then he's taken from us. It's like any other superstar in that situation if they're not going to do their job to the ability that they're being paid to. So, you know, at some point in time, yeah, does this hurt? Yeah, it's hurt. It hurts to see our players not win and to see our players sad about not performing correctly. You know, I'm sad to see Anthony Davis sad about not playing well. But we got to be pros, bro. Like, we got to be a pro. I respect fighting back tears. That ain't the part that bothers me. You can let the tears flow, but you got to perform. See, that's where it matters. You can let the emotion out, but on the court, you got to let that out too. I can't see you leave emotion on the court and fight emotion off it. You know, you left some out there. You could have gave more. And that's what it is to Anthony Davis. I tell him, like, I can't look at LeBron James and say, LeBron James, hold yourself accountable for not pressing the wrong button with Anthony Davis. I got to look at Anthony Davis and say, brother, you got to stay on your game. Don't allow yourself these excuses to be coddled, bro. Get to a point where you can handle all of that so that you can be in a space where you are a great Laker. Because as long as you want this and it's too much for you, it ain't good for you. And right now, he acting like the bright lights is just too much for him. And don't get it twisted. There's a big difference between performing in the playoffs in the bubble and performing in the playoffs at Staples/Crypto.com arena. And the jury's still out on whether or not guys can play in this building and succeed. It is what it is. And I ain't lost sight of that. Anthony, you're one of them, bro. I ain't heard it articulated this way, but I'm not certain he really flourishes under the bright lights of the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't care about them big performances, because this is the game where he needed to have his thinking cap on, his hard hat on, his heart in place, and all of that was out of whack when it mattered the most. Now, we in the bubble somewhere in Orlando when ain't no fans in the room and everybody's on the screen and it's quiet. Maybe it's a different environment that doesn't require him to be at Staples with Denzel over there and Bad Bunny over there, that kind of thing. Can he handle that? When he needs to win, not on a regular Sunday afternoon ABC game, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. Can you do it when everybody's waiting for you to win? Because that, man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And look, there are always two variables to look at. I've made the very hard argument and for why we shouldn't hold him accountable for that Rockets game. A very hard argument. If they don't want to check him in, they won't check him in. That is a fact. But if for some reason there's some variable that I don't see, where it really does lean on the fact that he just kind of didn't want to play in that game for whatever set of reasons, he really does need to be held accountable for that. Now, I don't know if that environment is even created. I don't know. But if he could have played and chose not to, then my opinion is like everybody else as it pertains to that variable. That's not acceptable. That's unacceptable. Because at the end of the day, We need to win, and we're gonna have all the rest in the world, if we don't make these playoffs. So that's real. Now I see the back-to-back variable. I agree, the medical, all that. I agree with everything. But if the Lakers, if he could have said, "Yo, I want to play," and people would have said, "Yeah," and he just didn't say that, that's a problem for me, because he should have wanted to play in that game. He should have wanted to play in that game because of all the times he risked his health leading up to that moment. Would have been for nothing if we didn't play him in that game, which it ended up being anyway. But like, that's something he, as a competitor, should not have wanted. And I don't believe he did. I believe him when he said he wanted to play. I believe him. But there's a room for that. There's a response to that variable, just in case I'm wrong. And he really did decide not to play. Not under these circumstances. There are a lot of people who really believe he did not choose to play in that game, despite us needing him to play in that game. And if that's what he did, I'm with them. If that's what he did. So that's that, man. We got to win. I don't care about nothing else. Just like I've always felt about this season, every season, all the time. We always got to win. Every game's a must-win for me. I'm a competitor. Self-motivated in that way. I want to beat the other team every night. Because I know we're going to see those same teams again. It never ends. So it's like, let me beat them this time. And when we see them again, we got to beat them next time. And when we see them again, we got to beat them. That's just, it never ends. So for me, it's like, when we approach certain games without being prepared, it's hard to digest. I can accept not being as thorough in my own personal life, not paying attention to each and everything, whatever. But if it's my job, if it's my passion, if it's what we're doing as a team, collective, I don't understand not being prepared. I don't understand allowing yourself to allow yourself to not be prepared. When you have the ability to bring yourself extra people to do the job itself, you don't have to stay on top of that. If you're some of the guys who are watching everything, you hire people to stay on top of that so that you can still just be just as careless mentally as you want to be, so long as the people that you have hired are watching your blind spots and you trust them. Isn't that what this is about? Like, the front office doesn't have to do homework on the Rockets. The scouts they hired to do homework on the Rockets need to do homework on the Rockets, so that we're not left out there without knowing how the Rockets are doing in a given time in the season. Things that you're just going to have in place when you're concerned about what happens when you don't. Losing happens when you don't. Things that have your instincts leaning into winning, like I always talk about. As an organization, I wouldn't have let go of Jay Huff if I know I got Mo Bamba as my only backup. That boy ain't been healthy his whole career. He ain't never been healthy. Why the hell you think he's going to stay healthy now? Anthony Davis, never been healthy. What are we doing? Bron has his injury issues constantly now. Your front court is going to be thin in theory if things play out the way they could more than not. So why in the heck wouldn't you have enough backups? Things that you're not going to allow yourself to have happen when you know that this can cause you a loss. You got more guards than bigs, but your bigs are fragile. Lonnie Walker down there capable of hitting 30 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, getting to the line about 15 times. Do you have any idea how much production we're leaving out of our rotation just by sitting this guy at this stage of his career? You see how high he jumps off the floor? You have any idea how ridiculous this is, having him sit? I mean, it's like, it's stupidity. It's dumb. It ain't nothing. And you got Malik Beasley out there shooting the ball, bricking everything, and the only reason you have him out there is because in some hypothetical world, this era shoots the ball. So we must, in order to play basketball properly, have spacing on the floor where a shooter must be over there. Otherwise, our spacing is off and we cannot compete. You see how robotic I sound? Because that's exactly how stupid that is. It's robotic. As Gilbert Arenas said, LASIK. It doesn't bend. That's not how basketball's played, you guys. That's how everybody agreed basketball is played. That's not how basketball is actually played. When you get out there, there are ways to defend that and destroy that. Like, completely obliterate that. Whether it's been figured out or not. You see what I'm saying? It's like, no, the game has to be played in a reactionary way. You put a guy like Kyrie Irving on the floor, he's going to bust up anything you got down there. You put a guy like Shaq on the floor, he's going to bust up anything you got down there. Steph Curry. You see what I'm saying? Certain talent's going to make it so that your agreement on how to play, they're going to come in and dominate that and make you play different. And since we've seen that a million times, let's not do this. This spacing must-shoot era, that's just stupid. If the guy's bricking shots, get him off the floor. You don't have him out there for some hypothetical reason because you need this on the floor in order to win. Look down, you're not winning. You're not winning. This is the problem with this era. It's like they think that they know. It's like we are. This is no, it's not. You're robots. The game is played like water. It flows. So stop this. Just stop acting like you understand it and make the game simple for yourself. The ball goes up. Tall people get to the ball sooner. Athletic people get to the ball sooner. Shooters are shooting from far away. You're lowering your percentages. You're leaning on something that doesn't happen as much. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, come on, man. This era is arrogant. It believes in itself, but it lacks a great deal of wisdom and would get destroyed because it would neglect certain things like size and post footwork, defensive prowess, integrity within its officiating, obviously. And then furthermore, clock management, as we've already said. And attention to detail, as we're clearly seeing. So it's like, y'all don't have it together. You would have been beaten by eras past and will be beaten by eras in the future. Because they're going to be smarter than you. Both of them. Because you're not playing that smart. In fact, you're not even playing at all. You're just running the score up so you can bet on the games. That's all you're really doing. So that's what I know. I'm not having fun with it. And this era is trash. It's only good for making money. And that's all it's going to do. That's all it's really going to do. No one's going to remember this crap. And that's the God's honest truth. The Lakers are just one team in a flurry of all of this. And I don't like it. I hope that it changes for the better. But in the meantime, I'm going to speak about what it is that I see in hopes that we can do some things better within it. And, leaving yourself without the size, it does trickle down to people not believing in what they're doing. And that does trickle down to people not playing well and barking at each other, which does trickle down to other stuff that just ultimately leads to you losing. And telling the world different things about your plans and your future stuff about other free agents and stuff like that right before those free agents come into your building is just stupid as hell. Especially when you must win basketball games. That thing they did with Kyrie Irving, he deserved to lose. For that and other reasons, including missing free throws and turnovers and superstars playing without confidence and stupid crap like that. Nonsense. So that's how I feel this morning. I hope everybody else is feeling great. I'm sure most of Laker Nation feels some variation the way I do, man. And I know people just want to jump all over Anthony Davis, and I don't think I've jumped on him enough. I think I've been very soft on him, to be honest with you. I don't know how y'all feel about how I've been talking about Anthony Davis, but I think I've been super soft on him. And whoever's holding me to task, believe me, I'm holding myself to task. It's hard to get on his case when you know he's just sitting there pitiful. He's sad. He wants to play better. He wants to not be hurt all the damn time. He wants to be a Laker. He wants to fight through every injury. All of that. So I don't think he's lacking in desire. It's just results. It's who are you on the inside? You know what I mean? Or do you have a fight in you or are you just not that dude? Anthony Davis told us he was like that. That was his slogan. I like that. Like what, man? Like this? 6.7 seconds. In a playoff-like atmosphere in your home damn court. I don't want to be like that, bro. I don't want to be like that. Nobody should want to be like that. You shouldn't want to be like that. Evan Mobley should want to be like that. Absolutely not. And why I bring up Evan Mobley? Because he's the doppelganger of Anthony Davis. He's the one that looks like AD, who likely can play like AD, who hopefully will stay healthy and not have any issues like that. But somebody that you look at and say, if he does everything like AD, he ain't gonna walk away with enough rings in his career. Because AD is doing stuff that I would tell Evan Mobley to never damn do. Never. Always walk in the game believing in yourself, because at the end of the day, your length and your basketball IQ is going to make it so that you're better than everybody else. I would say that to both of them. Both of them. You have the ability to play defense without fouling, and you have the length to stop things that no one else can. Both of them. So why would you ever walk into a game without any damn confidence? Against anybody. Never. And because you can do those things, there shouldn't be nobody within your circle or any circle that should be able to waver your confidence in regards to whether or not you can perform down the stretch of a basketball game. If the president got something to say, cool. And I'm going to go out there and show the president I'm the best. That's what I want to see out of those two players, because you have the ability and the length and the strengths and the gifts to do it. And so that's what I would say to both him and Evan Mobley, even though Evan Mobley's an entirely different person. I don't even watch them, but I know it's like that. When you are built the same way, I say about Brandon Ingram and Kevin Durant, you built the exact same way, you're going to keep an eye on that player, because that is what you're trying to reach. You want the bag that he got, you want the championship he has, all that. And so for me, it's like, man, Anthony Davis needs to find his confidence. Anthony Davis needs to put in the work. And then look, I'm going to say this, and I've said it many times. If this team is not committed to practice, you're not going to get as good as you need to get. I don't give a damn. Half of the problem, probably more than half, is that these guys are not committed to repetition. Like real serious get up in the morning and put in the work, go to sleep at night, but before you go to sleep, put in the work type. They're not there. And they go out there and half-butt it against teams that literally do. They're putting in the work. And so when we talk about, the Lakers practice once a week, maybe twice a week, a couple guys didn't practice, how good do you think a team is going to get? And that's a precedent that I don't like, that this core, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, are comfortable with. How the hell are you comfortable with that? I mean, you're about excellence. That's one part that I never understood. So you guys are cool with us not practicing like 4 times a week? Y'all cool with the team not huddling together, having conversations at least once a month? These are things that champions I think they're going to do. I grew up watching the Lakers and the Spurs. I know how the champions move. When they are trying to get every championship necessary, there ain't going to be certain things in place. I don't know how Golden State's doing it, because I've kept my eye kind of off of them, but I'm pretty sure they keep their stuff intact during the glorious days of their dynasty. They had this intact. And the way this team's moving, we may practice. Let's go out there. We're not prepared. We don't know how to handle things down the stretch of these basketball games. How the hell do we still have clock management issues? If we're practicing 2 and 3 times a week on these problems, do we have these issues? Are we still deficient in these ways? The perimeter defensive problems. If we're running as many drills as we're supposed to be running in order to try to get better, will we really be as bad as we are right now? That's what I'm saying. Like, guys aren't practicing enough, and we know it. Those who follow this sport enough know this a team that doesn't run its stuff enough to know itself. Guys don't run enough damn drills. I'm a fan of what we saw from Wenyen Gabriel, but he needs to run more drills that allow him to dribble the ball toward the basket. Same thing with Rui Hachimura. Same thing with Troy Brown. Same thing with Austin Reeves. They all need to get better. They need to be running dribble drills repeatedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying go full Pat Riley, because you're going to, lose your energy before you get a chance to exert it on the court. He demands those guys be in a certain shape, and I don't know if that's what you want to adapt to or not, but I think if you have these type of practice habits, it will translate to guys being in better shape. It'll just translate to it. And then how does that translate to guys not getting hurt as much? LeBron, AD, when you practice enough and you keep the repetition of actually being there and doing it. We talking about load management and not playing back-to-backs and all these different things. Well, part of the problem is guys have not been practicing 4 times a week for the past 12 years. In their whole careers, they ain't been practicing like that. And if you had been, I'm pretty damn certain you wouldn't be as bad as some of these things you got going on down here that you're not as good at, like clock damn management. I'm sorry, I know these things are done in 2-minute drills, and they call them 2-minute drills because they're run that way in practice. That's the one thing I did understand about basketball as it pertains to playing it. I played basketball as a little kid on a team, and I do remember running drills, 2-minute drills to be exact. As a 10-year-old chubby kid, I did do that much as a team, in a team setting. I did play a little basketball. And you know what I didn't suck at? Believe it or not, free throws. I could hit free throws. I couldn't really shoot. I couldn't really dribble. I couldn't do nothing else. But when it came down to me hitting a shot at the free throw line, it was usually 1-and-1 back in the day. I could get to the second free throw because I'd hit the first one. Teams didn't have that problem when I get to the line. It's the only thing I could really do. But I hit my free throws. So that's one of the things that you just look at and say, I know I pointed this out on some random Laker chat video that I made probably about a month and a half ago or something, one of the games randomly. But I said it. We cannot forget that the free throw line is where we can lose basketball games. It's always important to remember things like boxing out, hitting free throws, size and matchups, and switching properly, knowing when not to switch, stuff like that. It's little stuff, but it matters. You must hit your free throws. We talked about it for 10 or 15 minutes in that video. And here we are. I knew it. It was going to rear its ugly head. 61% against the Dallas Mavericks. At home, in a game you cannot lose. Just disappointing, man. It's deflating, disappointing, and overwhelming when you consider the fact that we're so close because we have a good roster. Our team has been bad. It's good now. Or is it? No, it is. You just got to stop using it the way that Darvin Ham is using it. You got to put these players in positions to look better. You know what I really am looking forward to is when the Austin Reeves finally starts for this basketball team. I'm looking forward to that because it makes so much sense based on how he plays, man. Unless we're going to have a plan to make him a sixth man of the year every year, if that's the trajectory they're trying to make of his career, then he really shouldn't be coming off the bench playing as well. And you could say it's continuity that you want, but Dennis Schroeder can make the passes off the bench. And since you're bringing him off the bench anyway, it doesn't make any sense to double down on that. Especially when you have the deficiencies with the shooting guard position that we have with Beasley bricking all the time and not doing much anything else. Austin Reeves is a perfectly good shooting guard that's giving you damn near 6 and 7 assists and ain't missing no shots basically up until a couple games ago when we basically threw it in the towel as an organization. He lost his fight just like everybody else did to some degree, but even he was trying. So it's like I'm looking at this and I'm saying, like, are we still with 11 games left still going to go with this Malik Beasley experiment, hoping that he's going to hit another 8 3-point shots and just blow a team out as if that's the only way we know how to win? Like, it's just so damn stupid, man. I want Darvin Ham to understand, bro. I'm exhausted. I want him to know how exhausted I am of his philosophy to use this player and all the small ball stuff that he's been on. When we get to this point, it's like, brother, I am really looking forward to this not being the case. However that looks for our franchise, man. I find myself being respectful and careful. It's a black coach, all that. But, man, I would fire this, bro. I would fire this man. I'd have fired him 2 months ago, y'all. Because I already saw some of this coming, just like I would have fired Frank Vogel 2 weeks into the season last year. Because I already saw that coming. Some stuff you just got to nip in the bud that early, and if you do, you really can't salvage your situation. But our team has never made good no decisions or quick enough organizational decisions. And so why we suck is basically a byproduct of them dragging their feet on stuff like this repeatedly, believing in people that don't believe in the right people. That's how it goes. Believing in people who don't believe in the right people. And they play them on the floor and it goes wrong. The same thing we did with Dwight Howard last year. Same thing we did with Montrezl Harrell the year before. It's just nonsense. With the center position, Thomas Bryant this year, it's the same old crap. No respect for size. And it's deliberate every year. And it gives you the same result. And here we are. Same result. So, I don't know, man. The ineptitude is overwhelmingly frustrating. I want an overhaul. I want an overhaul, man. I want our young kids to stay, the ones that can really, really go. I want them to stay in this uniform and keep playing for us. But as far as what we're seeing and how all this came together, who made these decisions and all of that, I am exhausted of you. I'm completely exhausted of you. I'm happy that you had started making some changes that made me feel better about where we're headed, but I'm telling you, you drain us. You drain us because you're just not thorough enough, and you really, really, really are doing stuff that just doesn't add up to anybody, man. And so what I hope will happen is that Genie will either do an overhaul of everything that has to do with who put this crap together, and then keep the players, like I said, and then do something really, really good with LeBron James and Anthony Davis's value so that we can have a future in this uniform over the next several years. Get us a bunch of young players that can go along with your Vanderbilts and your D'Angelo Russells if you're going to re-sign him, which I do have concerns about his health, but I do like him as a player. We gotta make sure that if all of that doesn't fall into place and we continue to have bad years, man, it's gonna be a situation where Jeannie's just gonna lose support. She's already begun to lose support of a lot of fans, but I'm not there yet. But I'm getting to a point where I don't know where else to go. I'm not gonna ride this thing into the ground while still singing the "Hooray Genie" train all the way into as the Titanic sinks. I'm not gonna do that. I will get to a point where I'll start becoming short-sighted just like everybody else. That's how I get down. It's hard not to get caught up in the moment when you're losing as bad as we are. So what I'm telling you is I'm not screaming for her to sell the team, but I don't really see too many ways. Just like I said in the previous video, I don't see too many other ways it's going to go once the pressure starts to hit. As negative as it's going to get, as people are starting to run into yet another season of ineptitude with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as a core. Small ball and all that stuff costing us seasons, precious seasons of this man's illustrious career. So a lot of people viewing it that way, and it is very, very bad for you once it goes south. I can't stress it enough. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.